Graham Boniface is a musculoskeletal physiotherapist who's worked with the organisation since 2009. He recently took a secondment to focus on a master's degree in clinical research at the University of Newcastle. And as part of his course, he explored some research which could have a really positive impact on the well-being of our staff.
The reason for looking at staff well-being was because of the figures involved in sickness absence in the NHS, really. Back in 2012, 2013, the NHS spent over £1.5 billion on staff sickness and lost over 13.5 million working days. And when you look at the main reasons for why staff might take time off work for sickness absence, the top two reasons was stress and anxiety and musculoskeletal disorders. Every day in the NHS, 6,000 members of staff are off work with a musculoskeletal disorder such as back pain. I feel physiotherapists can have some sort of role in prevention of sickness absence. When you look at absence figures, community trusts tend to suffer a little bit more highly than the average for England. When you work in the hospital, you have open spaces in wards, you have access to slings and hoists. But when you're working in the patient's home, that can often be cramped and you might not have access to the equipment that you need as you would do in the hospital. We need to develop a greater awareness in staff that if you're starting to suffer with a twinge, then you need to act on it. And that means, accessing the physiotherapy service for staff so you can get advice and try to stop that problem from developing.
Rosie Huckle works in the communications team and recently acts as the staff physiotherapy service. Rosie, how did you hear about the staff physiotherapy service?
I joined the trust back in April and it was mentioned as part of the induction process, and then it was in the staff handbook as well.
What did you do to access the service?
I looked on eSource. If you go to Your Working Life, to that tab at the top, and then there's a section called Wellbeing at Work, and I found the form there. And once I'd submitted the form, I received a phone call for a telephone initial assessment, and that was within a week, I think, of submitting the form. And then after the telephone assessment, they gave me a choice of attending a physiotherapy clinic at either Merlin Baz Health Centre in Leicester or Loughborough Hospital. I went to Merlin Baz, which was brilliant. I think I was seen within about 5 days of the initial telephone assessment, so it's really quick, much quicker than if I'd gone to my GP.
What was your issue, Rosie?
I had a knee injury which came from running, so it wasn't caused by anything I did at work, and so for that reason I wasn't sure if I'd actually qualified for the service, but actually they were really happy to see me and to give me advice on my condition.
What happened at your physiotherapy appointment?
The first one lasted about 20-25 minutes, I think, and the physio had a close examination of my knee and got me to do various different stretches and things to check out how it was working. And he identified what some of the problems were and gave me a tailored programme of strengthening exercises that I could work on at home. So that was printed off for me, and I took it away and did do the exercises over a 2-week period. And I then had a follow-up appointment after that, at which point we reviewed the exercises and what was working and what perhaps wasn't so much, and he tweaked them and gave me some more advice. And then I was allowed a sort of open return, if you like, so I could come back to the service within a particular period. I think it was a couple of months, if I found that the problem was persisting, but actually the exercises had really worked and my knee was a lot better, so I didn't need to do that, so I closed the appointment down.
What did you think of the service?
To be honest, it was fantastic. I was seen really quickly. I got the treatment I needed, which was treatment that worked, so the problem was resolved really quickly. And I really liked the fact that I had that sort of safety net of being able to go back if the problem didn't sort itself out. I really felt supported, and it's great that service is available to staff. I would really, really recommend it.